YouTube.com/@TheNatureDC. Subscribe today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are live here. This is free agency frenzy, man. NFL free agency frenzy right here. I'm your man. I'm here, point B, man. I've been giving y'all a lot of good content lately, but I'm gonna continue on today. I mean, the NFL been going crazy today, like stupid. Been going crazy today. It's free agents moving. It's trades happening. Tomorrow begins at 12 noon. Begins legal tampering for free agency. The 12th is the first opening day of free agency. But right now, they are showing you that they ain't gotta wait. They ain't gotta wait. Okay? I mean, I'm just being real. Trades and everything's happened. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of the rundown about what's going on in the NFL today. Today is March 9th, 2025. And it is 8:25, 8:20-ish time at Eastern Standard Time. So that's why I'm going to give you the up-to-date to where it's at right now. Okay? So, first and foremost, you got DK Metcalf. Oh, yeah, my man in the building, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Nope, I'm here though.
Just getting it kicked up.
Nope, I'm here. I'm here because so I don't get fined, boss.
Hey, look, man. It gotta be like that. But all right, so I'm gonna jump into it. DK Metcalf traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Seattle Seahawks. And not only was he traded for a second round pick, the 52 overall pick, he re-signed a deal for a 4-year, $132 million contract extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers after being traded. They are saying that Justin Fields will be in Pittsburgh again next year. So you got Justin Fields and DK Metcalf maybe teaming up for the Steelers this upcoming year, which I really like. And before I go on, is there any breaking news that you want to talk about? Because I am going to dive into this trade a little bit. I'm going to dive into a little bit more of the stuff that's been going on for the Washington team and as well as other teams in the NFL.
Oh, you know why I'm here. You know why I'm here. I'm saying video for all those that don't know. Welcome back for any of the fans that we got, any newcomers. I'm the guy that always got some trash to talk. It's even between me or one of my beloved co-hosts. I don't really care about today. If we don't have any news, it's not really important. See, I'm that much of a Redskin fan that there are no other teams except for us. If you don't sign here, then you're just playing for the ops. And the ops could be any other helmet that doesn't have the W on the side or Redskin. So I'm not really concerned. I didn't think that we were going to get DK after we got Debo because it was overload and we got other needs. And Myles Garrett and the Eagles like having the biggest hating heart for someone who just won the Super Bowl to hate on some of our moves is just, it's a little disgusting. I don't think that we were going to go after anybody but Staley, and Staley got re-signed. If he was shipped around, I would have a little concern about how we weren't able to pull him in, but because he stayed where he was at, I'm all right now. I still feel like we in the same in a comfortable spot right now. And I also think that some of those guys may have pulled the trigger to keep those guys from coming to us, and yes, those moves kind of leave them in limbo if those moves don't work out.
I agree with that 1,000,000%. I believe that they were playing C blocker. They playing C blocker. You know what I mean? Like, y'all already know what's going on. Y'all know what's about to happen. And instead of you standing out the way and keeping it P, y'all want to jump in and block on the C. Okay, you know what I mean? That's exactly what's going on, man. Okay, in other news though, Ronnie Staley is another person that I would love to get into a little bit, even though he re-signed with the Baltimore Ravens. I feel like the left tackle position is a position that Washington really would love to sew up. I think they tried with Brandon Coleman last year. Not saying that Brandon Coleman cannot develop from rookie to first year pro, but as most of us look at that and see that as potentially still a hole. And so I think Ronnie Staley was on the top of most people's draft boards as not draft board, free agency board. But question: after Ronnie Staley is gone off of basically everybody except for the Ravens free agency list, who would you like at the left tackle? Do you know a left tackle that you might want potentially bring in?
There's nobody unless you're talking about Trent Williams. It was never even Ronnie Stanley for me. If you're gonna go that age or go that old at left tackle, you might as well go Trent Williams. It doesn't make any sense to pick any other player for that position.
Is Trent available?
Trent is either retiring or going to be a free agent. San Francisco is still trying to figure out that at the moment. Um, so that's in the air at the moment. But again, they have until June to sign that deal. March they'll end up owing him some money. I mean, on the 12th they'll end up owing him some money, I believe. I have to double check that. But I thought that if I was not mistaken, that Trent was either on his final year or was looking at possibly retiring. Since I haven't heard any retirement news, then we have to wait until the 12th to see what the 49ers are going to do.
Okay. You don't like Cam Robinson for the Vikings?
Nope.
Okay.
Not mobile enough, and I just not necessarily a big fan of his game. Not anything against the player. I think he had a good season last year, but
Okay.
just not a fan of the player myself.
Well, Trent is still under contract with 49ers until 2027.
Yeah, so I still think that that's a possible available trade for San Fran. The San Fran got 12 picks. I don't doubt that they're trying to protect Brock Purdy, but that's interesting to keep an eye on. I'm telling you, or at least I feel so.
Okay. Okay. And so with DK being off the board, with T Higgins getting the franchise tag, is there any? And we did trade for Debo, so it's not like we didn't do any receiver work. Is there any wide receivers right now that you may be looking at?
Tyler Lockett, if you're not going to go back with the Zacchaeus, but I honestly don't even think I want to work on any of that without paying attention to the offensive line and the defensive line, or maybe cornerback in the next week or so. The reason being is because I just look at it like this. JJ5 is a very, very, very high talent. I think that you don't have to surround him with an overload, as we can see. Like, imagine, and not to draw this out that long, but imagine if he had the offense that Caleb Williams had last year, skill player wise. You're talking about, I don't know, probably maybe league best offense, maybe league best offense. And I don't know if you need that many more skill players at wide receiver. If you can add another running back and shore up your offensive line to be able to protect against some of these very good defensive lines and focus on the defense, I think that you're in the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we I don't want us to overthink it based on some of the free agents that are available. Other teams are trying to get themselves better than they were last year. We do have a bunch of free agents that we got to sign, but I don't want to go out of the way at a position or at on the side of the ball that we were top 5 in.
Okay.
I really feel like we can with Jaden Daniels. I feel like you can put together an offense that could work.
I don't know if we lost you. I think we lost V. Yeah, I believe we lost V. But I'm gonna get into a little bit of the transactions that's gone on in the NFL. I'm gonna read off some of these. Starting back, I'm gonna go as far as back as V.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. You're back. All right, I can hear you now.
Yeah, somebody called me. My fault.
All right. You can go and finish what you were saying if
No. I was just saying with the signing of Debo, like I really feel like you've advanced your offense with what you had last year. If you just take away whoever was that number, they just pulled up. Just called me. I think with the picking of Debo, you've added to your offense that was number 5 last year. I think number 7 total points and yards altogether. With Debo, you just give yourself an extra eye to take eyes off of Terry McLaurin. We ran the most screens. Debo's a heck of a screen player. I just think that you get a lot more out of that skill player than you did with just filling in that role. So, I mean, the players that were signed today would have been great to add to the offense just because of how explosive you could have imagined the offense being.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the Bengals of last year. I don't know if everybody forgot this season that fast, but the Bengals were really, really good on offense, but couldn't stop a soul. So I don't want to spend that much money on offense where I know we have a special quarterback that can get us yards without the best talent. So I want us to be able to stop the other team and maybe get some more chances at having some possessions to score the ball.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna do a rundown. I'm gonna go straight through the whole list of free of transactions that's happened, so we could catch everybody up to date with the rest of the NFL, as you know. So and as well as us, you know. So I'm gonna start at February 25th. February 25th, Khalil Shakur signed a 4-year, $53 million contract extension with Buffalo. The same day, Jason Peters retired. The same day, Turian Armstead reduced some of his contract down from 1.25, reduced it down to a 1.25 $1.25 million contract. Okay. Next thing, Alric Robertson, left tackle, signed a 3-year, $57 million deal with the LA Rams. Then you had Trey Smith offered the franchise tag in Trey Smith offered the franchise tag in Kansas City. Now we get to Washington. Washington traded for Deebo Samuel for a on March 1st, traded for Deebo Samuel for a 5th-round pick. That is the 148th pick in this year's draft. That's what Deebo Samuel was traded for. Then you had Matthew Stafford reconstruct his deal on March 1st. So March 3rd, that was the next time, you had Alex Kappa being released, the guard. You had T. Higgins signed a $26.1 million franchise tag. You had Isaiah McDuffie signed a 2-year, $8 million contract extension. You had Devontae Turpin signed a 1-year, $5.3 million tenure with Dallas. You had Blake Lynch signed a contract. They didn't say which one with Kansas City. Then you had Osa. I don't know how to say his name for Dallas. Osa. Uh, huh? Osi, excuse me. I can't say his name, but he a defensive tackle, signed a 4-year, $8 million contract. You had Jonah Jackson traded from Chicago to the LA Rams for a 6th-round pick. He is a guard that was traded from Chicago to the LA Rams. Then you had Devontae Adams released from the New York Jets. They cleared 30 million off of that release. Then you had CD Lamb convert 25 million into 20 million, basically. So he gave them 5 million for the year. You had Roy, and excuse me, that was March 4th, and that was CD Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. Then you had on March 4th, Roy Robertson Harris released by Seattle. They cleared 6 million. Rayshawn Jenkins released by Seattle, clearing 5 million. George Fant released by Seattle, clearing 3.8 million. Demont Jones released by Seattle, creating 11.5 million. So they went on a releasing spree in Seattle. Then you had Saquon Barkley sign a 2-year, $41.2 million extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. You had CJ Godwin, Goodwin signed a 1-year, $104.2 million contract with Dallas. You had Brian McManus sign a 3-year. Remember Brian McManus? He was with us. 3-year, $15.3 million contract with the Green Bay Packers. Then you had Jamal Williams sign a one, I mean, excuse me, released. Jamal Williams released. They saved $1.58 million in contract. Then you had Nico Collins, who converted a $12.33 million 2025 signing bonus, added a void year, and they cleared about 9 million. I don't know how they did that. It sound like some, they finessing. But then you had Joe Tunney, however you say his name. I don't want to mess his name up, but he was traded from Chicago. He was traded to Chicago from Kansas City for a 2026 fourth round pick. Then we had Sam Hubbard
Yeah,
retired.
that's
Of
Tony.
course, you had Tyler Lockett released by Seattle, saving them. It looks like 7 million in cap space. And you had Dare Boonwale. I hope I said that right. Signed a 1 year, $2 million deal extension with the Texans. Excuse me. Still on March 5th, Alex Capagard signed 2 years, $11.2 million with the Vegas Raiders. Then you have a Max Crosby signed a 3 year, $106.5 million contract extension to stay with Vegas. Then you had Dak Prescott converted a $45.75 million signing salary into a signing bonus, creating $36 million for the Dallas Cowboys. You had Zach Bond sign a 3 year, $51 million contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. You have Corey Kretter, long snapper, signed a 1 year, $1.4 million deal. Bradley Chubb agreed to renegotiate contract for the 2025 season with the Miami Dolphins, so he's staying in Miami. Zach Martin retired. Trey Thompson Zach Martin, guard from the Dallas Cowboys, retired. Trey Thompson, cornerback from the LA Rams, was waived. Brian Allen, center from the Cleveland Browns, retired. Then big news here, March 6th, Joey Bosa was released by the Chargers, which created $25.36 million in cap room. That was March 6th. Then you had Eric McCoy, center, converted a salary of $8.3 million to $500 roster signing bonus, voided 1 year, and that created $7 million in cap space for the New Orleans Saints. Deshaun Watson converted a $44 million signing bonus and gave $35 million back. So he gave 35 back out of the 44. I guess he took 10 million. You have Durham Smythe, signed a 1 year contract deal with the Chicago Bears. Christian Ellis signed a 1 year, $3.2 million contract. Cole Holcomb agreed to renegotiate his contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mitch Morse retired. Then you had Tutu Atwell, wide receiver, signed a 1 year deal contract extension with the LA Rams. Then you have Amin Agbendomina. I hope I said that right. Signed a 2 year, $5 million contract extension, outside linebacker for the Chicago Bears. You had Theo Jackson signed a 2 year, $12 million contract extension with the Minnesota Vikings. Then you had Zane Gonzalez, Mr. Rub the Hair Back, He signed a 1 year, I believe he got paid a little bit over $1 million, 1.17 million or something like that, to come back to Washington to be our kicker. Then you have Josh Joby that signed a contract extension with Seattle. The details of that contract extension is not out. You have Sean Martin released by the Buffalo Bills, creating $2 million in cap room. You have Kurt Heinrich signed to a 1 year contract extension with the Houston Texans. Josh Blackwell signed a contract extension with the Chicago Bears. Then we have Raekwon Davis released for the Indianapolis Colts, creating $6.49 million in cap room. Christian Kirk, wide receiver, traded to Houston from Jacksonville for a seventh round pick in 2026. You have Liam McCullough signed a 4 year, $5.78 million contract extension with the Atlanta Falcons. And then you had the Jacksonville Jaguars going on a frenzy. They released Ronald Darby, Josh Reynolds, Evan Ingram, and Devin Duvney. Um, and that created a little over $13 million in cap room. You have Bobby Wagner, of course, then signed a 1 year, $9.5 million contract extension, $8 million contract. Of that contract is guaranteed money, meaning that is a signing bonus. So I believe that Bobby Wagner will only count for about $1.5 million on the cap, if I am not mistaken. Okay. So you have Terrell Bernard signed a 4 year, $50 million contract extension to stay with the Buffalo Bills. You have Derek Barnes signed a 3 year, $25.5 million contract extension to stay in Detroit. You got Cade Mays signed a 1 year, $3.2 million original round tenor with the Carolina Panthers. Whatever that means, I'm going to get brushed up on that. So you have Tanner Hudson signed a 1 year contract extension with the Cincinnati Bears. Aziz Al Shahir converted $7.83 million into a signing bonus, added one void year, creating $6.26 million for the Houston Texans. Then March 7th, you have Jonathan Allen released. Okay, that created $16.35 million in our cap. You have Harold Landry then released by the Tennessee Titans, creating $10.5 million in for their cap. You have Aaron Brewster signed a 1 year long snapper, signed a 1 year contract extension with the Arizona Cardinals. And then they had Joey Blunt sign a 2 year contract extension with the Arizona Cardinals. Anthony Pittman signed a 1 year contract extension with the Detroit Lions. The details of that contract is not out yet. Then you have Tamari Fox that was waived by the Las Vegas Raiders. Trey Tomlinson, cornerback, was claimed off waivers by the San Francisco 49ers. Then you had Levante David sign a 1 year, $9 million contract extension to stay in Tampa Bay. You have Ezekiel Turner signed a 1 year contract extension to stay with Detroit. You have Geno Smith traded from the Seattle Seahawks to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third round pick this year, the number 92 pick overall. You have Gus Edwards released by the LA Chargers, creating 3.12 million on contract. You have Greg Rousseau, I always mess up his name, but he signed a 4 year, $80 million contract extension to stay with the Buffalo Bills. You have Mike Gesicki signed a 3 year, $25.5 million contract extension to stay in Cincinnati. You have Marquise Brown signed a 1 year, $6.85 million to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's March 8th. You had Reed Ferguson, the long snapper, signed a 4 year contract extension to stay with the Buffalo Bills. You have Chris Williams, uh, excuse me, signed a 1 year, $3.2 million original round tender with the Chicago Bears. You had Marcus Davenport signed an edge rusher for the Detroit Lions, signed a 1 year, $4.75 million contract. Then you had Zach Ertz sign a 1 year, $6.25 million contract extension. I'm going to take a quick break at Zach Ertz. And what do you think about that Zach Ertz signing, V?
You getting sleepy, ain't you?
What is that?
So, the Zach Ertz signing, I'm fine with. You really don't have another option to get right now that's going to give you the same level of production and understanding of the offense with a quick turnaround. This team is trying to go for at least repeated success, if not Super Bowl. So, there's no option at the moment to kind of bend and go somewhere else when you're looking to at least get someone who understands the offense. I'm cool with the signing. It goes to show that you are trying to at least give the people who did a good job last year a contract that makes sense for them. Again, Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz, given if they were 5 or 6 years younger, they would probably get 3 or 4 year deals. So it's the same thing with the Eagles signing Saquon Barkley. It's a good thank you from teams and organizations showing their appreciation for the efforts that they were given that season. Bobby's 9 million was deserved. 8 was deserved. Earth's deal well deserved. I wish it was a little bit less, me personally, but that player played worth every bit of dollar that they got. So I'm happy with that. Um,
Agreed.
the only thing that bothers me with that is the fact that I've been hearing noise in the background that we were looking or may still be looking for another tight end. That only riddles me slightly because it takes me back to what I said last year with the 2 third-round picks that were questionable at the moment for me on the show. I love the Senate pick. I still believe in the pick. I'm not sure what's going on internally or whether there's a development thing there where he's not getting the opportunity at the tight end, or maybe they do see him in that Justin role with the 49ers at fullback. But I still think that that's a weird round to pick a
From a view
fullback.
check.
Yeah, use check. I just think that that's a weird round to use for a fullback that you're not going to use as a option in your offense.
Yeah.
Again, right now things could be different during the season. There may be a the guy that you keep up your sleeve and don't want nobody to know, but just the noise that there is that we may be looking at another tight end
Okay.
is a little up in the air for me there with that one.
Gotcha. So back to it. Back to it. We are on still on March 8th. We got Ronnie Staley, 3-year, $60 million contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens. You have Chris Manhertz signed a 1-year contract extension with the New York Giants. You have, it looks like Jaime Gillian, the punter, signed a 3-year, $9 million contract extension to stay with the New York Giants. You have Austin Colbert signed a 1-year, $3 million contract extension to stay with the Carolina Panthers. You have Kader Kohu, excuse me. He signed a 1-year, $3.2 million original round tender to stay with the Miami Dolphins. You have Tommy Tremble signed a 2-year, $16 million contract extension to stay with the Carolina Panthers. Derek Carr converted $28.745 million of 2025 salary to a $10 million roster bonus into signing bonus, created $30 million of cap room for the New Orleans Saints. Von Miller
Somebody
released
needs to
from,
investigate these contracts.
hey, bro, I don't know how
I think
you,
Trump needs to send the Doge in.
hey, bro, listen though, this is funny. I don't know how you convert 28 million into a $10 million contract and create $30 million.
So basically, and I'm assuming here, I'm assuming that they're getting back the money that was some money that was guaranteed, and they're taking back some money that may have been promised for incentives. If that's
Okay.
not the case, then the only thing else I could think of is the contract that me and Ro was telling you about that Jalen Hurts has, where Jalen Hurts is getting paid over the last 3 seasons, I believe, $1 million, and he's receiving a 12 to 16 million dollar. Ro has the right
Yeah, no,
terminology for it, but it's
that's how Deron Payne. That's how Deron Payne. This year, Deron Payne is only supposed to get paid like $3 million. It's the way
but
that
is
they,
he but is he receiving the rest of his money throughout the year?
yeah, no, it's the way that they put the contract. Some
Yeah,
years he
so
got
Jalen, so
20
so
something
let me
million
go back to
dollars,
Jalen Hurts.
and this
Let me
year
go
he
back.
got three. You know
No,
what I
no,
mean? Like it was
nah,
kind of
but
crazy.
that's what I'm saying. Let me explain Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts over the last 3 years has received $1 million on the contract. He's only gotten paid $1 million.
Yeah,
At during the year, the Eagles are responsible for 12 to 16 million dollars that they owe him, but they don't have to pay it until the end of the year. They can play it. They can pay it either throughout the season or they can pay it at the end of the year. Then he's on contract next year, I believe, for like 12 or 16, like something low, bro. But the thing is with his contract is that he can be released. He don't have a no trade clause, but if he's ever released or let go from the Eagles, he's owed $192 million.
wow.
So he's literally, I ain't gonna hold you, he's probably the NFL's number 1 team quarterback.
I get,
For you to take like you're getting paid what players are getting paid. You're getting paid less than all of your skill players.
yeah, yeah. That's a little wild. Hey, that's the way to do it. Whatever you got to do, right?
I
So
mean, yeah. So once they're done with this run, I don't know if they have a football team anymore, bro.
yeah, that might cost them a whole lot.
I
Hey, so
mean,
let me
but
go
again,
ahead.
hey, look, if you can run off, if you can, in my head, because I don't want to see this happen, but in my head, if you could run off 3 Super Bowls in a row, you know what I'm saying? Even if you might not be ahead of everybody in the league, you might not have broke the Patriots record, you'd have done something that nobody's done before. And even if you can't get back to the Super Bowl for another 20, 30 years, your team, you'll kind of understand what you sacrificed to get everything done right now. Because after this 3 year period is up, especially once Saquon's last year, I believe, will be now around Jalen Hurts last year or the year before his last year. Like, this is gonna end at a very bad time, bro. Their entire team is gonna be free agents unless they just want to stay.
I get it. I get it. Let me go ahead and finish this list out, and then we can chop it up a little bit more about all of the other movies, right?
For sure, for
So,
sure.
like I said, Von Miller released by the Buffalo Bills, creating $8.397 million in cap room. Then you have Miles Garrett signed the biggest contract for a non-quarterback. I believe on the defensive side, at least ever. He signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension to stay with Cleveland to not go anywhere. You know what I mean? They paid him 40 plus million a year, basically. Then you have Baron Browning, outside linebacker, signed a 2-year, $15 million contract extension to stay with the Arizona Cardinals. You have Jaron Reed, defensive tackle of the Seattle Seahawks, signed a 3-year, $22 million contract extension to stay with the Seattle Seahawks. Nick Bolton signed a 3-year, $45 million contract extension to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs. Zadarius Smith released by the Detroit Lions, creating $5.75 million in cap space. You have Aaron Jones of the Minnesota Vikings signed a 2-year, $20 million contract extension to stay in Minnesota. You have Cody Ford, guard, signed a 2-year, just signed a 2-year contract extension. This is some really huge news to me, and there's a lot of other people because we wanted to see what Devontae Adams will land. But Devontae Adams signed a 2-year, $46 million contract to go with the LA Rams. He's going to be teaming up with Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua. Then you have Harold Landry, who was released from the Titans. He signed a 3-year, $43.5 million contract to go with the New England Patriots. He teams back up with his old coach. Then you have Jaime Sherwood signed a inside linebacker, signed a 3-year, $45 million contract extension to stay with the New York Jets. This is a big one right here. Josh Allen. And this is going to matter to us in a couple years. Josh Allen signed a 6-year, $330 million contract extension to stay with the Buffalo Bills. Okay. Meaning Josh Allen ain't going nowhere. Okay. Jarrett Stidham, quarterback, signed a 2-year backup quarterback for the Denver Broncos, signed a 2-year, $12 million contract extension to stay in Denver. Then you have Marquise Ball, safety, signed a three-year, $12 million contract extension to stay in Dallas as their
Let's stop
safety.
right there. Let's stop right there real quick.
What's up?
I like Stidham deal because now I feel like you can probably keep Mariota for 2 more years for about 12 billion, for about 6 million a year, 6.5 or something.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. We getting close to the end though. It's only a couple more Jones left, right?
Good.
So we got Ernest Jones, linebacker, signed a 3-year, $33 million contract extension to stay with Seattle. Then, like I said at the beginning, DK Metcalf traded for a second round pick, number 52 pick overall, from the Seattle Seahawks to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he signed a contract extension, 4 years, $132 million. And then we have Michael Fraboni, long snapper, signed a 3-year, $4.1 million contract extension with the Denver Broncos. And like V was the guy, the breaking news guy today. And like V said, there are speculation that Justin Fields has re-signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're gonna bring all of that up to date as well when it does come across the board. So V,
Yes, sir.
um, question: how do you feel about our Washington's re-signings, or signings, or trades, or so far?
Um, Outside of the Debo news, nothing is has been surprising. I honestly don't know what the holdup is right now on two particular players, but everybody that I've said that I think that they should get, they haven't gotten, or the other teams have waited. So I'm holding on to the names until we hear the news. Um, I think with the bump that. That's what we're here for. With the release of Bosa and release of Khalil Mack,
Yeah,
there's no reason to have to trade and get one of those bigger names. They've even Trey Hendrickson and got Garrett have signed in big deals. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, Bosa, and Khalil Mack. I don't want DeMarcus Lawrence only because you're only getting pass rushing from him when we need someone that can help stop the run. Khalil Mack makes all of the sense in the world, even
yeah,
on a short term deal. And honestly, to bring Joey Bosa with him means that you get chemistry from those two on the outside that have played together. You can probably give Joey Bosa a 1 year deal as a prove it deal as well, so that you can bring him in and you can extend him during the year. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he's has a first good 6 games, you can extend his contract. But I would definitely try to bring those two in, because if you do that, you now shore up those 6 picks that you have in the draft. And I'm not saying that they're the most important to keep, but you have to think that those are 6 players that you don't have to sign in free agency or fill your roster. So if you need 26 more free agents now, that's 20 players you have to sign if you can keep all of those draft picks. If you can
yeah,
get those two guys off the board for about 25 to 30 million dollars, you're literally putting yourself in about a 10 to 12 million dollar saving of what you would have had to pay Garrett, and you've got 2 players instead of one.
yeah. No, I totally a million percent agree with that. I will say this. I'm kind of on the Trey Hendrickson trade line. If it's not gonna cost us an arm and a leg. If
Right now, they said a second round pick.
I would trade that in a heartbeat. I would trade it first for Hendrickson. Hendrickson over the last 2 years is tied for number one in sacks, both years in a row. I mean, don't get me wrong. I looked at his stats, and and this was me and Ro had a bit of a discussion about this. He asked me, I asked him, is Mika Parsons a top 5 edge rusher in the league? Right? And yes, talent wise, top 5 he is. But when I look at Hendrickson's numbers, they are better than Parsons. They are better than Parsons. I feel like Parsons is an elite talent, and I can't take that from him. But Hendrickson has developed as an elite pass rusher, and I don't think he's getting a lot of credit. I don't know. I don't know too many people that got 17 and a half sacks, let alone did it 2 years in a row. He's got a 14 sack season, a 13 and a half sack season, and two 17 and a half sack seasons. He had one off year in between those that time where he had an eight sack season, and that's an off year. I
Okay.
don't
Um,
think.
Okay, so to my point, can I chime in straight quick?
Go.
sure.
Okay, so for me, it's Mika Parsons faces a double team, and sometimes I've seen him triple teamed, literally. I mean, I think he's the only player I've ever seen triple teamed on like literally triple teamed every
Aaron
way
Donald.
nearly. I believe Dallas is. Yeah, it's not during the years when he had those other pass rushers with him. Um, I think that Mika Parsons single-handedly makes Dallas a totally different team. I don't think Trey Hendrickson has that effect on the Bengals. I believe that if the Bengals, like this year, the Dallas was 8-9 when the Bengals lost. Burrow, I don't know how many games he played last year. I believe no, what are they 8-8, whatever the case may be. He had
8-9. They
17
was
interceptions, so I
8-9
can't
too.
say that they were worse.
They
But
was 8-9.
huh?
They was 8-9.
Yeah, they was 8-9. So I can't say that they were worse, but they weren't better either. You know what I'm saying? So from my standpoint, I just feel like with Jamar Chase and with some of the other guys that they had on offense, on the other side of the ball, I just feel like, man, I feel like Mika Parsons is top three. I mean, I test, you know, yeah,
Well,
I just think he's
so
top
in
three.
some
You know
in
what I'm saying?
some
In my
defense to
opinion.
Hendrickson, one in this particular case, Parsons is not up for grabs at the moment.
You said what?
Number, I said in this case, Parsons is not up for grabs at the moment.
Yeah,
In Hendrickson's defense, they don't have anybody but him.
yeah,
The Dallas Cowboys have two cornerbacks, maybe three that finished in the top 15 in PFF or the top 20 25 in PFF at cornerbacks. That's way better than anybody that we had at corner, even with Sanders still having the better season that he did this season.
yeah,
You got at least I'll say chin in their safety. Like our safeties, their safety's cool, but because of Parsons, it helps their cornerbacks out more because of what he's able to bring. But they had DeMarcus Lawrence this year. They had the defensive tackle that they re-signed this year. They had a heck of a season this year. The
yeah.
Bengals only have Trey Hendrickson.
Yes, I can
Now,
agree.
now, the one thing I will give Parsons over Hendrickson is that Parsons' fierceness, if he's lined up at the edge, is probably better than Hendrickson at stopping the run.
Yeah,
But there's not a better sacker the last 4 years than bro. Like stats prove it. His numbers are not just like inflated because you don't give up sacks as the other team on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like he's created pressure when they have nothing else. They've been able to get some stuff. Like during their last 4 or 5 games when they were getting wins, he was helping them to get the other teams off of the field with making plays and stuff like that. And that's without
yeah,
anybody else. Hendrickson on our team, you got to remember we're trying to build a complete team. So with our interior being what it is right now, let's say that you got a similar activity from Payne as their defensive tackle. Newton had a decent season. I looked at his stats. Actually, he missed 5 games and or didn't play in 5 games or wasn't a heavy contributor in 5 games, and he's about 11 tackles behind Deron Payne. He's got probably one sack less than Deron Payne. They got the same amount of tackles for loss. Excuse me. So I think you get production from him in that regard. And if you get another defensive end on the other side of Trey Hendrickson, if that were where you were going, let's say like a Khalil Mack or even a Joey Bosa, I
exactly.
think you still get those same 17 and a half sacks or something close to that because now he's got help. With Parsons, one, you're going to have to give up far more than a second round pick. Dallas is not letting us get him for only a second round pick. Hendrickson, we're out of the Bengals division, so it wouldn't make a difference to them as much. um, Parsons, I do agree with you that you can line him up in several different formations, several different places on the defense, and that is something that a scheme can build off of a lot better than just being at one position like Trey Henderson. You know what I'm saying? And Quinn has used Parsons before, so you know what to expect from Parsons in a sense. But Hendrickson again, being with the Bengals who've not had a top 10 defense in the last 4 years, and Hendrickson is still at the top of the league. If I'm not mistaken, when Parsons had his top season at having sacks, Hendrickson was second or third in the league in sacks that year. And that was with Dallas having a top 5 defense.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. But see, this is what I was saying about the edge rushers. I like Hendrickson, and I like Khalil Mack. Now, Joey Boza is a very intriguing, thing because, like you said, we don't have to give up a second round pick if we can pull in two edge rushers. But we need, honestly, because we only really have Dorrance Armstrong and John Baptiste as our edge rushers right now. Those guys aren't enough to create real pressure, in my opinion. So we got to get. I think we got to be aggressive. We got enough money to be aggressive with the edge rusher. With going into an edge rusher, we have enough. We got enough everything to go hard when it comes to an edge rusher. So my opinion is that we should go definitely. I mean, definitely try that market Boza and Khalil Mack. If we can't pull them in, then I think Trey Hendrickson is a no-brainer giving up a second-round pick. There is nobody in the second round that's going to give us anywhere near the production, like we always say, that a Trey Hendrickson is going to give us.
Yeah,
There's no.
not that late in the second round, especially if that's what you're looking for in the draft as an edge rusher. If you're looking for an edge rusher, you're gonna have to use a first round pick. There is two players that may be available, but to me, and not that we would be wrong as an organization to go that way, because if you can get a rookie edge rusher that can give you the production of a Fowler, let's say, and can help you control the edge and stop the run, you're light years ahead of your process and what you want to do. One, money wise. Two, if you can get the production that these edge rushers can get wherever they go at, and maybe more from a rookie, which would be unexpected from anybody just right off the break, especially if you can use your 29th to move up to, let's say, the 20th or the 22nd to get an edge rusher. I believe you can get really good talent at that spot. It's just the responsibility of that player. It's like a Kwame Brown situation for me. It's like you're putting the franchise on that player's shoulders just as much as we kind of put it on Jaden's last year. And for a defensive edge rusher, that's way more pressure, I believe, than a quarterback.
Yeah.
Even though the quarterback is one of the most important positions, if you pick an edge rusher, and we've seen this, if you pick an edge rusher with the number one pick, the Browns picked what was his name? Courtney Brown. I think they picked him with the number one pick one year, and he was bad. I mean, he was really bad, and they suffered the entire year or for
Yes.
2 years when they picked him, because if you can't, like Rose said, like we watched last year, if you can't set the edge, that money that we've invested into you, that pick that we've invested, and now you got to think that we're now trying to put players around you as if it wasn't your fault, to kind of hide the fact that we've made this mistake at this pick, because most teams, especially then, weren't going to let the number one pick go 1 year after getting them. So you went 2-3 years trying to build around a player that sucked, and you had the number one pick to do it. So a lot of teams aren't going to, you know what I'm saying, try to put that responsibility on the edge rusher shoulders. Now, if you have a good team and this edge rusher helps you because you were suffering at this one thing and it wasn't a total breakdown like we had, I believe you have to get a veteran. And I'm not saying that you get both of them. Maybe you get one of them and get a helper as an edge rusher in the draft. I don't necessarily mind that, because I do like Dorrance Armstrong. I think he has to play more, because the production that he's gotten when he gets in is good. I just think he needs to actually start. He has to have the responsibility of being a starter. He's getting 40 something $million. If not this year, next year, he has to be a starter, or you've wasted a contract on familiarity and given a lot of money to a role player. Do not get me wrong. His plays when he gets in, by them being effective, he has value. But I think that you have to ask of him more right now, when if you're not going to solidify those spots, because now you're looking to get that 8 sacks from him for sure. If you go get two edge rushers coming up, if you get a rookie, you can make him start and have the rookie fall in his role, and maybe a rookie can produce those 6 to 8 sacks in a backup role, filling in for him. But then now he turns into a edge rusher instead of he turns into a run stopper first and then a pass rusher second, rather than just coming in and try to be a pass rusher. In my opinion, if you go with that first, you've kind of failed this free agency if you settle on Dorrance Armstrong being your starter. Not that I don't agree with this production. Like I said, personally, I like him, but I don't think you settle on him being your starter with there being better talent available. If you went out and got Debo Samuel because your number two was suffering, I personally think that you shouldn't even have touched the offense until you did something with the defense. The defense was that bad and what held you up last year that there's no reason why you even touched the offense first.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. I can agree.
Because
I
as
can
we can
agree.
see, as soon as you signed Debo Samuel, DK became available. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Devontae Adams is available at that time. You got way better options. Not better. I'm not gonna say better, because for what Debo brings to the table with what you're trying to do, I can understand that. But this goes to what I was saying a while ago, and I won't keep it long. But when I said that Mike Tomlin was one of the better coaches in the league, Cliff Kingsbury right now is a coordinator instead of a head coach because you can't get out of whatever you want to run to be able to say that I have a weapon that I can now change up what I'm trying to do to facilitate.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf or Devontae Adams changes you having a screen offense to a more vertical offense. You know what I'm saying? Terry McLaurin now becomes your intermediate route guy instead of your deep route guy, and one of those two guys become your deep route guy. But when you can't see past your offense to do that, you settle on the Debos and stuff. And again, I'm not mad at Debo. I think that that's going to work for what our offense is trying to do. But if you jump the gun too fast on players. Other teams aren't going to just let you get the Super Bowl because they feel like you're close. They're going to do everything that, because like Rose said, what are you supposed to be playing for? You're supposed to be playing for a Super Bowl. If the Browns plan on making it to a Super Bowl, they're part of their roster. If he's not, then there's no reason for them to even hunt for a Super Bowl at all. They would be restarting all over again. So them re-signing him makes sense. We have to do the same thing if the Super Bowl is your goal. If you're still trying to build the team, then all right, you go after some other free agent guys, help your offense get better, and then build on the roster, on the defense in the draft. But I don't know if fans are going to be pleased with that. You're going to have to go out and show that. And you picked a lot of free agents last year that were veterans instead of the young guys that were here. So it'd kind of be just completely. It'll look like you just got rid of all the Ron Rivera players because you didn't like them, and then you just went and did the same thing. It's just not going to make sense that way to me.
I agree. I agree. I agree 1,000,000%. It's got to make sense. It's
Yeah.
got to make sense. And for real, that doesn't make sense in my opinion. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean,
We
you
still
got
need it.
to.
We still need a cornerback. DJ Reed, you're gonna have to trade for. So you can if you get him, you might have to take yourself to
DJ Reed is a free agent.
he a free agent.
Yeah, but he only he only 5'9", and so him being five
So is
nine.
Darrell Green. I ain't worried about that.
But we already got Sanders still, so that means that makes
Sanders
our
still at the slot.
yeah, but that still
DJ
makes
Reed
out.
played last year. He played like he was 6'2".
I mean, I can't knock it. I'm not saying I like DJ Reed. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that does make our secondary significantly shorter and smaller.
I ain't worried. I ain't really worried about that much. Number twos are like Terry height and a little bit shorter. It's not a lot of niggas that's taller than that nigga and shit at the two. The number ones be the niggas that be having all the height and shit. What's up, boy? How you going? There you go. Hey, bro. You see? For sure. So, but Travarius Ward is definitely the look I want right there. Or I do like Harrison. Like, I don't know if y'all watch the draft combine and stuff like that, but I got my board pretty much locked in. But again, it's funny right now because I don't know what we're going to do or plan on doing with the trading to pick up other players and stuff like that. So until I see what we do with that, that may change the board. Because I think a lot of teams' boards are going to change now. Like for me, the Raiders, I was definitely looking at them getting Shador Sanders, very much possibly. But now that the Giants are trying to trade up, I don't know if the Browns get Abdul Carter with bringing Myles Garrett back, even though I think they make their defense.
I think you breaking up. Let me see. Yeah, I think you're breaking up. Say that again for me one more time. I guess V broke up a little bit. And so I'm gonna wait till we get him back. But that's gonna make me go into a bit of the GM mode. You know what I mean? GM mode is basically
My fault,
there we
y'all.
go. I hear you again. Yeah, I hear you back now. That's basically sending us in the GM mode a little bit. So I got a quick question for you, V.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right now we've re-signed Bobby Wagner for 1 year. And it looks like I said, it looks like it's going to count for probably about 1.5 million against the cap because the 8 million is guaranteed. Look like it might be a signing bonus, but it might not count against the cap. Then we have
Right, it
Zach.
sounds good.
Then we have Zach Ertz that is going to count for 6.25 million against the cap, and Zane Gonzalez. Right.
Right.
I'm going to read off. I'm going to read off the rest of the names that potentially we can re-sign, and I just want a yes or a no. All right.
All right.
Ro, you can give me a yes or a no as well, okay? All right, so Tress Way,
Yes.
Dante Fowler,
Yes.
A. Well, see, that's one of those you got to see what happens after that.
okay. Jamison Crowder.
He said yes or no, bro. You threw my
That's a
answer
yes
off
for
real
me.
quick.
Yeah, hey, that's true though. Hey, you got to give me a yes or a no though, bro.
With
With
who? With
Fowler.
I'm gonna say no right now.
All right, cool. Jamison Crowder,
I'ma say no.
bro.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. Jeremy Chin.
Yes.
I'm a yes on Chin.
Okay. Marcus Mariota.
I'm a yes on that one.
I'm a definitely yes on that. That's one of the most important parts for me.
Okay. Cornelius Lucas,
No.
bro.
Lucas, no, no.
All right. Derek Forrest.
I would like to, but probably not.
I don't think that Witten them know how to use him. So I'm gonna say no.
Austin Siebert for kickers competition.
No.
Austin Siebert,
Yeah.
Think they should, but no.
no.
For me.
Okay. Trent Scott, guard.
Yes. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
cheap.
I'm a yes on Scott. I'm a yes on Scott.
Okay. Olamide Zaccheaus.
Yes.
Olamide Zaccheaus is a yes. And we Ro gonna kick out for a second. So I'm gonna jump in, and for Olamide Zaccheaus, I am going to say no. Um, and we can go over why yes, but I'm gonna say no to Olamide because I feel like there's a lot of young talent at wide receiver between the draft and free agency, and I think that Olamide, while being good, he's not like a super burner. He doesn't propose uh as he Debo does everything that Olamide does. You know what I mean? So for me, I need somebody else with a different skill set. You know, I feel like between Luke, because Luke is still signed to the team, and Debo Samuel, I feel like they can do whatever it is they need to do. You know, so De'Ami Brown,
42 catches, 500 yards. I'm going to say yes for Zacchaeus because he knows what to do. And unlike De'Ami Brown and unlike Debo Samuels, he's a natural slot receiver. And the last thing I'd add is that he performed every time he played the Eagles.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. No
I
knock on
believe all his touchdowns are against the Eagles.
that. So then we got to ask the question about De'Ami Brown.
No.
Okay. It's a no for De'Ami Brown for me as well. Like I said,
Not that I don't want to. It's the expensive backup for me. I think he's going to cost too much. I think his production in the playoffs, not during the season, but his production excuse me, specifically in the preseason, I believe is enough for him to get some looks from some other teams. And I just think he's going to want a little bit too much. Like, I think if you try to get him for 4 to 6 years or a 1 year deal real quick, just to, I think all of that is a little insulting for the fact that he's been with your franchise for the last 4 years and you want to kind of give all of the talent in the league a shot and you don't want to hold people back. What we're trying to do, I would love to keep him just in case someone goes down, but that's a lot of money to give to a player just in case someone goes down.
yeah, yeah, I'm not necessarily with Alama Days of Kids. I'm De'Ami Brown either. So Noah Brown,
Yes.
not necessarily ready for Noah Brown.
I'm gonna say yes with Noah because he's a good blocker. Um, Fan wise, I think you bring him back because he caught the Hail Mary I know it's a crazy reason, but just fans will associate with him something like the Cam Sam's pick. He's going to be cheap for you. Um, understands the role. You don't expect him to play unless Debo's getting hurt, or if you need him in a blocking situation where you're running screens. He was really good at blocking last year. Um, you hope that he can improve on the on the times that he gets a chance to be able to catch the ball a little bit better than some of the times he wasn't able to last year. So, little stuff like that. And I think, like I said, him and Dayami play the same position. If Debo's your number two, then you don't plan on either one of them getting more than about 30 catches. You know what I'm saying? Not targets, but 30 catches throughout the year. And if Debo's doing really well and doesn't get hurt, you're probably talking less than that. So one player is going to cost you maybe 3, maybe 4 million at the most, and you can probably break that down to being 500,000, and then paying the rest as a bonus. And then the other player is going to want maybe 7 to 9, like between 7 and 9, maybe 6 to 9. So it's just the extra little bit of money you'll be able to save, and you get the same player. You get more of a burn from De'Ami Brown. I definitely said he got more wheels, but
Yeah,
Noah Brown, when he first got in, did us a decent service. He kind of opened up things a little bit better than we expected to early in the year. And I just think that bringing him back allows you to be able to draft, like you said, with some of the receivers that should drop, because it's not a receiver heavy class. It's receivers in this draft, but it's not receiver heavy. So it's not like people. But I will say, the corners and the receivers, they have to end up in the right situations. But I believe the corners and the receivers this year are a lot faster than the ones last year. So the ones that end up in right situations and can take advantage of what they're able to do can
yeah,
surprise some teams this year. It's a decent amount of 4-3, 4-4 guys out there this year compared to last year.
absolutely, absolutely. So then we go to Mikael Walker, linebacker, number
Uh,
32.
yes, because you need someone just in case Bobby gets injured, even though that's something you don't look forward to. And he was good last year. He was the only one that tackled Derrick Henry at a regular base. I mean, on a regular basis. Uh, and I just think that he's been serviceable right now. Some of those guys you keep around. They cheap. They can, what I'm saying, play football for you, and they don't cost you a bunch of money.
Okay, okay. And then you have Noah Igbenogany. Oh, Igbenogany.
Yes, Igbenogany. I like Noah. I think it bring Noah back.
He was all right. For me, I would say this for Mikael Walker. I would like to bring him back, especially if it's a team friendly deal. And Noah Igbenogany too, if it's a team friendly deal. Um, I do think that there might be some cornerback talent that we can go after. Like you said, DJ Reed. If we add a DJ Reed to our cornerback room, I think we get a lot better. Um, like I said, even though to me, I think that height wise, that may pose a bit of an issue. Um, but like you said, he plays big, so it's kind of give and take or whatever. Then we have Noah. So I just think that he's a good addition. Somebody that knows the defense. Michael Dieter, which is the lineman. Michael Dieter.
So team friendly deal. I want to say no, but if you get into a situation where I'm gonna say yes right now, because I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no because I think the team will pick up guys in the undrafted free agency too. So no, I think Dieter's probably not gonna come back.
Okay. So then we have Cleveland Farrell.
Hmm. So because you have Armstrong, he was productive. Uh, I think with the release of Jonathan Allen, you're probably going to re-sign another defensive tackle that you have on the roster that maybe have been let go, like Sheldon Day or something like that, or something. So I'm gonna say no with Furrow. I don't know if you got what you needed out of him this year to re-sign him. Like, what I'm saying, not for nothing more than what he got the year before.
It's a no for me as well with Cleveland Farrell. I just don't think that the production was there. I think that he was okay. You know, he made some plays, but he didn't do for him to be coming home. He's from the area. I don't feel like he jumped out on tape enough. I don't feel like when given the opportunity to make plays and stuff like that, I really don't feel like he took advantage of it. So I'm gonna say no on Cleveland. Thorough. Michael Davis. Michael Davis. I'm gonna say no on Michael Davis. Me personally, I feel like he got burnt up over and over again. I feel like we can get Michael Davis anywhere. You know what I mean? I don't think that he has done anything to warrant a re-signing or another look. I think some people did, but some people didn't. Hey, we got some breaking news here. Breaking news. So Jake Matthews of the Atlanta Falcons signed a 2-year, $45 million contract extension to stay in Atlanta. That is Jake Matthews. I believe he's an All Pro, if I'm not mistaken, All Pro left tackle. I say Pro Bowl left tackle, Jake Matthews. Um, so that's some breaking news right here. I told you it's been going on. It's been continuing on. All right. Michael Davis V, you got yes or no?
Well, Michael Davis,
Yes.
nah, I can't bring that back.
I agree with that. I agree
He
with
didn't give
that.
him no touchdowns, but he did to me, he didn't do enough work on getting his body together during the season. Would they let the wide receiver go in preseason for Martavius Bryant for being a
Yeah.
little stiff or out of shape? I think that they allowed Michael Davis to stay on the team, and he was not in shape at all this season.
Yeah. Okay. So after Michael Davis, we have Jeremy McNichols.
I like McNichols, but they just bought back Rodriguez, and I think that we're gonna probably sign a running back in the draft.
Yeah.
So no to McNichols unless they put him on the practice squad.
Yeah. I'm going to say no to McNichols as well. You know what I mean? McNichols, like I said, practice
And I
squad.
rock with you, McNichols. I want you to know that though, bro. I was rooting for you
We
this
do.
year.
Hey, I do too. I'm not gonna hold you. I think that McNichols, plays really well. I think he stepped up when he could. I think he made a lot of good plays. I can't hate on nothing that he did. I gotta respect it always. But I gotta call a spade a spade. And in that situation, right? I think that like you said, it's a lot of talent out there. They are trying to move into a new direction, get younger, get faster, get stronger. I think that McNichols is cool. Like I said, if we can get him on the practice squad, on the team, on a 91-man roster type of situation, then I mean the 72-man roster situation, then maybe cool. Uh, Benjamin St. Juice.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am totally in disagreement of that. I do not want to bring St. Juice back at all. Okay. Um, I got a thing on here. So Percy Butler. If we cut Percy Butler, it is worth $3.3 million in cap. Do you think that we should cut Percy Butler or keep him?
He was a good special teams player. I don't know. I don't like him at safety to start. Like you can't. That can't be your starting safety, and you want to go to Super Bowl.
Exactly. So I don't think he should be honestly special teams players. I think that we got a couple good ones. I don't think that he's irreplaceable on special teams. He did make some plays on special teams, but I do not think that he's irreplaceable. So I mean, I think this is an easy decision. I think you cut him and you save that $3.3 million. I mean, just my opinion, and you put that elsewhere. And Andrew Wiley. If we cut Andrew Wiley after June 1st, it saves $7.7 million. Would you consider that if we were able to do something in free agency?
What to
Um,
let him go? Yeah, I don't want Wiley back.
okay, so you
If
think that we should?
Wiley's willing to restructure his deal to be a starter slash backup, or if he's willing to play guard while Cosme's injured, and we can get a tackle. And like I said, if he restructures or something like that, I'm cool with that. But other than that, if it's not on the table, I'm not going to force it right now. I actually don't think that Wiley did as bad as normal last year as he normally does, which was well again, Jaden Daniel made everybody look good, so it's really really hard to say what. But we all saw him get beat a lot of times. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit here and act like we did or I did, but again, J5 being good and making plays, getting the ball out, like made up for some of that. I think that later on in the year, once Jaden was assuming that the time would be there and it wasn't, was when we started seeing certain things break down. Excuse me. So I would say no. I'm gonna keep that shot. I say no.
All right.
Well, is he on the he's up for a resign, or you were just saying?
No, I mean this is the last year of his contract, and basically we could save money whether we don't have to keep him. If we cut him, we cut the losses. It's not like we got to get dead money and a bunch of other stuff. It's only like a couple 100,000 in dead money, which is
Okay,
not
so what would we be saving?
$7.7 million.
Oh yeah, I'm saving that.
Yeah, hey, that that thing, So I'm gonna read off the offense, right? And I want you to tell me what you think we need on the offensive side of the ball. So right now, and these are the starters right now. Starters is JD5 at quarterback, B Rob at running back, Eckler as the third down back, Terry McLaurin is wide receiver one, Debo Samuel is wide receiver two, Luke McCaffrey is wide receiver three. Then you have Coleman as the left tackle, Allegretti as the guard, Biades as the center. Trent Scott will be right now as the right guard because Cosme is hurt and will not return until during the season. And then you got Andrew Wiley at the right tackle. So, is there anything on the offensive side of the ball that you feel like we need to focus on?
Offensive line, running back.
My bad, I forgot Zach Ertz as the tight end.
Yeah, offensive line and running back. Um, I'm not necessarily as concerned about the receivers with the addition of Debo Samuels right now. Um, Undrafted free agents, there'll be a bunch of them. Free agency is not over with. Before the draft happens, there will be more cuts. During the draft or after the draft happens, there will be more cuts. Um, just the main guys are, what I'm saying, coming up right now so that people can what I'm saying, offload some money here and there and things like that. But once the rosters start shaping up, people will start making some cuts and stuff like that as well. We did really what we did do well in was undrafted free agents last year, and those that we did pick up making the team. So I'm not worried that we aren't at least addressing talent where we need to. um, I don't pick up that Percy Butler deal just because if Owens is a good player like you assume to have, then I probably even see you using him like we were trying to use Forrest late in the year. You know what I'm saying? Which means that I would put him on the field more. Let's see if he can make some plays. You got Hamilton as an outside linebacker or inside linebacker on those nickel plays. You didn't get much time from him last year, so I don't know. Offensively though, like I said, I go offensive line mostly because that's what the Eagles are killing you with right now, or they're just the league period. And running back because your quarterback can't lead your team in rushing.
Okay. Okay. So let me read off the defense. You had a row. Yeah. Let me. I can read off the offense again for you one more time. Let me do it. JD5, B Rob is the excuse me, JD5 at quarterback, B Rob at running back, Austin Eckler as your third down back, Terry McLaurin as your wide receiver one, Debo Samuel as your wide receiver two, Brandon Coleman as your left tackle, Nick Allegretti as your left guard, Tyler Biades as your center, and you have Trent Scott right now as your right guard because Cosme is hurt, and then you have Andrew Wiley as your right tackle. Is there anything on the offense that you think that we might should change, or the focal point should be in the draft and free agency? Yeah, for
Yeah,
me,
for me, I think that I would beef up the line, like Vito said. That's one thing. Secondly, I think that I would they need a burner at receiver, to, in my opinion. I think they just need someone. Of course, Terry is a deep threat, but I think sometimes if you only have Terry, that you could really roll coverage over top of Terry, and and sort of keep some a good man over top of him. But if you have two men that you're really scared of, who you feel like your defensive backs can't run with, then now you have to, now you have it's a lot more complicated to call a defense against that. So,
I know Debo not
so
slow, right?
Debo not slow, but I look at him as a different type of receiver. I more look at him like a catch and run guy, like an intermediate, like cross the middle guy. I don't really look at him as a nine route guy, like a deep threat, or a burner, So that's the only thing that for me, if it was me, that's what I would add is, a guy, a high, a 4-3 guy at receiver. That's the only thing I would add. And the line, I would definitely beef up the line, 1,000,000%. I'm high on Cam Scatterbo. I believe that that's who we should draft at running back. So that's my thing with the what to do with the running back position. I like B Rob. I wouldn't say let him go. I even think you can keep Eckler because Scatterbo does so much, that I think you still keep the running backs you have. I think he's just an insert guy. You don't have to get nobody else. You could get him and then keep the guys that you already have. So that's why I'm high on Scatterbo. If that's what I would do with the running back position, but everything else, that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. So, I'm gonna read off the defense and do the same thing with what we have. Okay. So interior lineman one is Devon Payne. Interior lineman two is Jerzon Newton. We have Dorrance Armstrong as the defensive end right now, and we have St. Pierre as the other defensive end. We have Frankie Louisville and Bobby Wagner as the linebackers still. We have Lattimore as cornerback one, Sam Steele as quarterback two, and Quan Martin as the free safety. I guess strong safety would be probably Percy Butler right now. Out of listening to that, is there anything on the defensive side of the ball that you would think that we should attack in the free agency or draft? V first.
Defensive end, cornerback.
Go
You
ahead.
gotta you gotta get a you gotta get a linebacker to replace Bobby or outside linebacker. Whatever Jordan McGee's not going to be, you got to get that. If you're not picking up, I mean, if you're not going to pick up Fowler's contract, you got to get an edge rusher. But I think defensive end to stop that initial point of attack for the run game is first, and cornerback.
Yeah, I'm with V on that. I think that we do need a cornerback bad. I no offense to secondary. I don't think they play bad, but whatever. Defensive end is my number one though. I think I'm a proponent for bringing Chase Young back. I just think it makes sense. Even without Allen, I know y'all they probably gonna go in another direction. They wouldn't consider it, but I would consider that. Because I think you can get him at a good number, and I think he's familiar at least with Payne, who's left on that on it, and I think he's good against the run. And I think the run because of the backs, Genty could end up in Dallas this year, and so I think you have to prepare to
Like, buddy.
stop the run, because you already dealing with Saquon. You already dealing with whoever Dallas get over there, and then whoever the Giants get. So I feel like you should gear up for the run personally because you're looking up at Philly, as and if you're going to stop Philly, you got to stop the run. I would look at Hassan Reddick on defense. I know we talking about defense, so I would look at Hassan Reddick because of his familiarity against the Eagles. But I think you gear up to beat the Eagles, and that starts with stopping the run. I mean, the guys we got, they're good pass rushers, but they don't set the edge. And so I think, hopefully, if you do get a Hendrickson, I haven't looked at that side of the film for him. So who knows on that front. But
That's why I said if you add
again,
Hendrickson, you still got to get Mac. I think Henderson is better on the pass rush than stopping the run, but you
Right.
gotta get Khalil Mack. Like that's I don't think you focus. I mean, not to cut you off. I just don't think they focus on anybody else other than him. Like you add him, then everybody else makes sense after that because you can kind of set up what the other edge looks like. If you get anybody else before him and then try to pick up him, you're just looking at stopping the run on that side, which is still good. But you have to go after him before somebody else is trying to get him. It's not like nobody's going to try to get him.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Again, my main concern for at least on defense is stopping the run. I think you should go. You should even look at Milton Williams. Is that his name? I think you should
Nah,
look at
they
him
run a
too.
3-4 though.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, whatever you got,
And
peek
Khalil,
in
remember we
and see
told you
what you can
Khalil
get.
Mack the number one edge player to stop the run.
Yeah,
Like literally, he got
so
the most tackles for loss. He's literally got the best grade against stopping the run. I'm not sure what like the whole deal to Debo before free agency started. I don't know why it wasn't one to Khalil Mack to start that. Even if he was going to try to get Miles Garrett, Khalil Mack shouldn't cost you that much. Where he shouldn't even have. We shouldn't have had a conversation with him already.
right, right.
Very true. Very true. I couldn't agree more when it comes to that because you gotta have had this. But oh no, my bad. You can't have that conversation. Legal tampering. I mean, no, you could, yeah, because he's a free agent. But legal tampering, I think he's an unrestricted free agent too because legal tampering don't start. You got restricted free agents, then you got unrestricted free agents, and all that. And legal tampering doesn't start until tomorrow at noon. So once that legal tampering start, that's when you're gonna really see the effects of everything. My opinion.
No, I definitely agree. Again, Washington is in a very unique spot. I do think that they're going to have targets on their backs. I think Washington comes into the season with a big fat target on them. I think you could tell by how the other teams are reacting to some of the news, specifically the Eagles or whomever else you want to take. But I think that it's going to be a lot of teams that come in there to show us that we are not who we think we are. And so I think that you got to prepare for that now. You got to bring people in who already have played their careers with targets on their backs. I
Yeah,
don't
I
really
agree.
think you got to have a choice.
I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So we done ran down a couple different things. Let me make sure that we covered a lot of these subjects, man. Make sure that we got everything. Everything. Um, Question. So, this draft, right? What is it that you guys want to do in the draft? Because I hear a lot of different draft talk, but what is it that you guys want to do in the draft?
Cat
Do you want to?
Scatterbo.
Do you guys want to get a running back? Do you think we should be defensive line, offensive line oriented? I mean, to be honest, you got it. Excuse me. I asked that question in reverse. What do you think we should do in free agency first? My bad. What do you think that we should do in free agency first? What should we focus on in free agency? And then you can say that we should focus on the draft because technically you don't have to do both at the same time.
Well, I think the draft probably better to ask because we already acted in free agency. We literally went after a wide receiver first. We didn't even bring back Bobby Wagner first before we got Debo. So I mean, now if you mean right now what we should do in free agency,
Yes.
I've already said that Khalil Mack, especially with Miles Garrett and some of the other edge rushers, sealing up the fate of what they're going to do. I think you need to kind of solidify what you're trying to do now. Um, with that. DJ Reed on paper and what he did last year with the Jets and the year before, 5'9" or not. I like the production. You guys didn't like Ronald Darby when he was here, so maybe the size bothers you guys. Like I said, I grew up on Darrell Green, so size doesn't matter over production, in my opinion. This team needs help though. So I mean, it honestly
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. They need upgrades at cornerback on the outside. Sarah Steele's not bad out there, but until he goes against a smoker, y'all not gonna understand what I mean by that 4.6 speed is gonna show up against somebody who can smoke. In the slot, that's a really good position for him because he knows how to play the end space and like that. And I think that he's a better benefit. Like we haven't even seen him be able to blitz because he can't line up right there long enough for us to be able to run that scheme. and that might have helped with stopping the edge with some of the rushes and stuff like that too. But when you take him out of that spot, we don't even get his special ability of being able to stop the run in those situations. So I definitely see cornerback, but right now I'm with Rowe. If you don't stop, I think remember I said last year I think that St. Juice would have had a better season. Lattimore is probably used to Cam Jordan and those guys getting to the quarterback where they have to get rid of the ball faster. When you get it, when the quarterback gets to throw on time and on rhythm, it's hard to stop any quarterback, any level like that. You got to get him to throw some off rhythm passes, and that's what cornerbacks thrive off of. We got to get the rush done. So in this in the free agency, I'm going edge even over corner in the draft. I don't think, even though I think that if there's a, you go best player available in the draft, the first pick. The reason why I say that is because at every position on our team outside of quarterback, you can upgrade. Bobby Wagner is nobody's going to be better than Bobby Wagner, but he's getting old, and you can always get younger there. So if the best player available is the linebacker from Alabama, Jalen
Yeah,
Campbell,
yeah,
that you can put anywhere, like you got to get him. I'm sorry, it's a defensive coach. You have to add that player that gives you your your Michael Parsons, Louvu type of player, and you now can have two people at that level to cause havoc if that be what you may. They're going to be running backs until the third round. There may be running backs until the fourth round, but I wouldn't push it. But depending on what you're looking for, I think that there's first round quality running backs up until the late second round. Starting running backs are probably only going to be up into the third round. After that, I don't know if you're going to get that this year for them to be the starter until like mid season or something like that. And that'll just be because production is not up with the other backs. Um, Hairston is a very interesting pick there at cornerback. If you don't address cornerback in free agency, if you address cornerback in free agency, I don't think you pick a corner with your first pick unless the team is not really sold on Lattimore. So if you pick up cornerback after picking a cornerback in free agency, that means that it wasn't just Lattimore's hamstring, but I don't want to come up with theories and things like that that may not be there. So I don't think you pick up a corner unless you focus on edge rusher and you deal with the cornerback as the first pick. Because I don't think anybody's going to pick a cornerback more than two cornerbacks in the first round that'll be before we get a chance to pick. So
I
we have
got you.
opportunity there. Outside of that, bro, I really can't say. I don't want to pick I don't want to pick a lineman with that pick.
You said what?
I don't want to pick an offensive lineman with that pick
Why not?
because if you get it wrong, we already kind of punished the team for not picking up Cooper Dewan or picking up which one. Even though we picked Mike Sanders still, we kind of gave up players that turned into Super Bowl champions their first year.
Yeah,
And our offensive linemen that late in the round, to me, the best linemen are going to get picked up early. If you could pick them up with the first round 29th pick, you can trade back your first 29th pick and get something early or in the mid second round and get that same player.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So to me, like you got to those six picks have to turn into 9 or 10 picks. And then now you have to pick players and say, okay, we're going to fill 10 spots on the roster in the draft, and we're going to fill 16 to 18 players in free agency. Or we're going to fill 10 in free agency, we're going to fill 10 in the draft, and we'll pick the rest up and undrafted free agents. That's not a
yeah.
bad tactic. The six players, you know what I'm saying? Six players off the roster that you got to find during the offseason. Six players that before the season starts, I just got to sign players after everybody roster field. That's cool. You can't go into the draft needing 26 players still.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. I mean, so it's been a great free agency frenzy, a great breakdown of the transactions that's went on. No more has gone on. Um, I'm gonna get some final thoughts. Ro, you got any final thoughts for me?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The my thing is this: it's Super Bowl or bust for me. Now, can I? Let me ask the panel: can I be on Super Bowl or bust now? I mean,
Yes,
we were
for
in
me,
the
it's a
NFC
yes for me.
Championship. So for me,
We
it's Super
pushing
Bowl or
it.
bust, right?
We pushing it.
See, how if we was in the NFC Championship game the year
Because if
before,
okay, so maybe it's
it's
just
supposed to
me,
get
but
better,
if
right?
maybe it's just me, but if we are realistically speaking, if we've talked and we said that this season was literally Jaden Daniels more than anything else, if you're saying Super Bowl or bust, then that means that you expect that Jaden Daniels has the same miraculous season or better. And if he doesn't, then how do you recover from that? If he doesn't have the same season, how do you get to your goal?
Barring
It,
injury, I think he should have the same season or better. I don't. I think that. I
I
think
think he's having a
that
better
the
season.
if you
yeah.
don't
I
get
think
an
the
edge
coaching
rusher
staff.
and you can't stop the run, and the Eagles are able to run the ball all last year, or if they go out and get a burner like you said, and they can't control the clock, and we lose by not being able to control the clock, it's Super Bowl or bust. They got to get it right, and I think it's like I said. I think it's that 3 year. It's a 3 year plan. They only got 3 years to do it. That's the coaching deadline. It's Super Bowl or bust this year if they do it right. But if they don't, you still can set yourself up to be able to do it in the next season after that. I don't. I'm disappointed if you don't get 12 wins. I think I'm more disappointed if you don't get 12 wins more than getting the Super Bowl. Like if you get 9 wins and make it to the playoffs and then go to the Super Bowl, I'd be happy as I don't know what. But I'd still
Yeah,
be disappointed in this season in somehow. I mean, in some way.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. If we get to the Super Bowl, regardless of how many wins we had in the regular season, I'm not upset because to me that's a step up. That's a step up.
No, no, it's not.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you consider that a step up? We went further in the season.
You would rather go no. First of all, Super Bowl is always the ultimate goal for everybody. So I can't say that I wouldn't be happy, but to overachieve with an underachieving roster and to underachieve with an overachieving roster makes no sense.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. And normally, look, and normally I would be with you on that 1,000,000%. But right now, as it speaks, we one game away from the Super Bowl. So if we get closer, any closer in the season, then we better. You know what I mean? We are better. So I can't say that if it's Super Bowl or bust, but it is kind of Super Bowl or bust at the same time. To get better,
To
that's
me,
the only
it's
way.
more Josh. It's more Josh Harris as a mole or not. That's what this season is for me.
Yeah, depending on how it play out, you know.
Because if you don't
So
spend the
yeah,
money, if you don't spend the money,
right,
it's something that we talked about.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Is your investment costing you too much money? But now you're trying to save some money. You're losing money with
right.
Philly because they trash right now. So are you trying to keep
Yeah,
some money
terrible.
and not spend it on players? Even though the edge rushers got re-signed to their team for the most part, it is two Pro Bowl, all pro defensive ends out there right now that you're not going after at the moment. Or at least that we don't know that you already haven't been on the line with.
Absolutely,
And they're not gonna break the bank. It's
absolutely.
not even gonna cost you all the money you got to do that. What is the holdup?
Yeah,
And you mean
I'm
to tell me
absolutely
y'all
one
don't think
million
it's not
percent
going to attract
with
other
it.
defensive players if they went and got Khalil Mack and Bosa? The Eagles was hating on them trying to get Myles Garrett. So I'm gonna go out and get two
Yep,
players since y'all want to hate on the one.
I
I
agree.
agree.
I'm
I'm
trying to
trying to
wait.
wait and see what Peter's gonna do though. Again, I told y'all I wasn't all that impressed with the Debo Samuels move because he coming from, him coming from San Francisco. We know you can make a deal with San Francisco for sure. Like we already know that. Um, so I wasn't that highly impressed. So I'm with you, Vito. We are really, this is really a judgment. For me, this is a judgment year for the coaching staff because you don't have the excuse of you don't know what you have anymore. You don't have the element of surprise against other teams. You don't have, a lot of the things that you had last year, like going forward for fourth. Teams are going to be prepared for you to go forward on fourth this year. They wasn't really prepared for it last year. That was something that was new, and it could have come about based on the kicker's health throughout the year and the different kickers we rotated throughout the year. So it could have just come from that. However, teams are going to be ready for it. So you're not going to have that element of surprise. So for me, is this supposed to be my final thoughts? So for me and my final thoughts, Washington, you gonna have to take it to another level. Front office, it starts here. This is where it starts at, taking it to another level. The Eagles took it to another level last year in bringing in Saquon Barkley. I mean, and Zach Bond and all the things, the moves that they made, Quinyon Mitchell and the whole roster flip that they had last year. So it's about that. Whether we like it or not, you can level up here. And so either they're gonna level up or they're not. Again, Adam Peters, I'm not super impressed. I want to see more. I want to give him that opportunity to make something happen. But again, we'll wait and see. But they are on the clock for me.
I ain't gonna hate
And
on
this
Adam
is
P,
me in
man.
judgment. Yeah.
I ain't gonna hate on Adam P, man. A second round, second number 2 receiver for a fifth round pick is elite. Agreed.
His
But
deal's been elite, bro. Like Geno Smith, just take this
Well,
from
again,
the.
that's what I was saying because of the relationship he has with San Francisco too.
No, no, no,
See,
no. He
they
doesn't have one with Seattle. Just look at this. What Quinn might got one with Seattle, but Adam Peters is the one making the deal. He got a third round pick for for Sam Howell. Geno Smith just went for a third round pick to the to the Raiders, and he
that's
likely to
true.
be their starting quarterback. Sam Howell wasn't even the
True.
starter last year.
That's true.
Like my man is pulling off
right.
some magic with these. And mind you, Debo Samuels, I was complaining about the 17 million. Debo Samuels only cost us $1 million when we let Jonathan Allen go.
Yeah,
A fifth round pick for a number 2, and it's only $1.
basically.
Right, right. I mean, I still don't think I'm still not all that impressed. To be honest, the Debo deal I am impressed because it's a good deal. To be honest, I'm not talking about that side of it. But um, it's with San Francisco. You have a relationship with them. I gotta see him. I gotta see them move outside of their comfort zone a little bit, or see their comfort zone. And don't get it twisted. Their comfort zone was good for us last year. I can't really complain if you're in the NFC Championship game. I felt like they were a better team than the Eagles. I do not like that game that they coached or played against the Eagles. I felt like they gave the game away. You was virtually up, maybe not on the scoreboard, but you definitely were up in other areas you could have exploited that you didn't.
Yeah, go look at that
So
film, man.
I did. We just watched it. We just
We got
watched it.
robbed. We
The
got
Eagle
robbed.
game.
We got
Now I
robbed.
didn't. Now let me say this. I did not watch like for penalties or nothing like that. I just literally was really more or less watching for what Cliff Kingsbury was doing on offense, and that's who. I mean, that's where I felt like the ball was dropped a little bit. But nonetheless, I just think that this team is built to do something special. But you better do it now, because if you don't get it done now, I don't know if you get it done later either. That's just my final thoughts. You know what I mean? I'm gonna swing it back to point.
Nah, V.
Oh, V, my bad.
Well, my final thought. Oh, final thought. I didn't want to do this today. All right. We didn't make enough noise that I even wanted to do this. I appreciate the fans for listening to us and our takes. I actually appreciate all of you more than I do this free agency period at the moment because I'm a little peeved at the team for the direction that we're going at the moment. Don't get me wrong, it's a process, and I'm not upset at the process. Business is business. I understand how it goes. I'm a little anxious. Let me say that. I would love for these guys to move as important as this feels, but I also think that sometimes playing ball gets you those great deals. And then sometimes playing ball gets a person to say that, oh, you BSing and I'm about to go somewhere else. And you don't need to kind of gamble with that when you don't have your full deck. Full deck meaning all of the draft picks. You only got 6 draft picks. You're picking at the end of the draft nearly, and your picks are spread out because of deals that you did last season. And right now, you don't have to give up that first round pick because the Miles Garrett's are gone. All right. But you have to know how to negotiate what you're going to do moving forward. Is that second round pick worth for Trey Henderson? If that's the case, we look at that as a replacement of the draft pick. Perfect second round pick because there's not going to be a player in second round history that's going to probably be as productive as he is right now. The only thing with that is that now that knocks you down to 5 picks. You have to sign over 20 free agents, and those guys can't all be repeated players from last year because they all aren't productive players from last year. What do you draft out of that? Those are the things that we discussed tonight. I have my view on what I would like for them to go after, but that may be what we see. These guys saw that our offensive line was enough last year. Surprised the heck out of me because I definitely didn't think it was. And to be honest, the team did not do bad. I like Trent Scott at guard. I am not sure what he was hiding at tackle that he provided at guard in the last two playoff games, but even with against the Eagles, didn't hear Jalen Carter's name too much at all until late in the fourth quarter, I believe. And that was a throw in for him to be at that spot with Cosme going down two games before. That's not me saying that I believe Trent Scott's supposed to be our starter, but I do believe that you have some players on our roster that are still willing and ready to play for the coach and want to win football games. This year has reminded all of the players that were here before this coaching staff got here that winning is possible. And we believe that with J5 on the field, we can win. So yes, it is Super Bowl for bust for us. I play devil's advocate in some regard because I understand the process is not as always as simple as it may look on paper. And we were paper champions probably about 17 of Daniel's 23 years. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to paper champion it. I want to see what you're doing. I want to see how productive it becomes. But I'm willing to celebrate on paper when you make moves that make sense based on what we were doing last year. We didn't have a number two at a consistent rate last year. Debo Samuels provides some stability. And for him to have his down year and have pneumonia majority of the year, row, those are really good numbers with being overweight and having pneumonia. I don't know about y'all, but pneumonia is a hard thing to breathe with. I don't even know how he played with pneumonia. That by itself is crazy. But to be there for your team, and that's why I'm cussing a player out and smacking them in the head. And yes, it may look unprofessional, but I'm giving my life, I'm putting my life on the line, and you out here not focusing. I'm gonna be a little upset, might be a little out of character. I appreciate that type of player a little bit more, understanding the significance of the situation. So that's an upgrade at that position, even if it's not DK Metcalf, who's younger and who may have provided a bit more splash or blast play. It's still an upgrade from what we had last year. Um, but as we all said, I think the defensive line has to be addressed. You got to stop. The best player last year was Saquon Barkley, hands down. You have to sign something or make a move that shows all of us, your fan base especially, that you're trying to address that. He just got a bonus of $20 million for the last 2 years of his contract. He's going to go ball out again next year as long as he's healthy. You got to make sure that it's not both of your games that you're playing against him that he does that.
Okay. All right. So my final thought is that we have some of the most money in the whole league. We got a lot of money. Um, I know that you don't just go spend your money and just throw it out and spend it frivolously, but I think that this is a very pivotal time right here. It being on the cusp of legal tampering. So I believe it's like around $93 million that we have in cap space. Uh, because it's not costing us a lot of money after releasing Jonathan Allen to do a lot of the moves that we've already made. I would love to see us bring in two edge rushers. I would love to see us bring in a cornerback. I would definitely love for us to either re-sign Jeremy Chin or maybe go after another top end safety. I do agree with Rowe if we need a burner. So there's some holes that I think we need to fill, but I think the number one priority should be offensive line and edge rushers, edges, not just edge rushers, but the edge and the offensive line. I feel like we already got a pretty good core in the middle as far as with Jerzon Newton and Deron Payne. I think that we can get better, but I do think that that's a decent core, and I think that we should be definitely focusing on the edge as well as the front line. I think that last year we played okay. The offensive line, it was games that were good, there were games that wasn't so good, but I think that we need to go get bigger, stronger. We need to, really attack that offensive line aggressively if whatever we could bring in. I was trying to bring in Staley. I think Ronnie Staley would have been great. I think Cam Robinson is actually a good pickup for left tackle. I'm not all on Trent. I do think Trent will be great, but under contract is under contract. So and from looking at the Miles Garrett situation, under contract could turn into something completely totally different when they want to just throw out the money to that player. So my final thought is that we need to stay hungry and and be aggressive in this free agency. as well as the draft. I think we could trade up in some spots where maybe we can get some of those highly touted players. I don't think we need to trade out of the first round, but I am willing to trade that second round for Hendrickson. So I think that we just got a lot of options here. We got a lot of money, and I would love to see us be aggressive on, like I said, the edge, and especially that the edge and especially the offensive line. So thank you guys for tuning in. We've been with you guys, and we're gonna let you guys go. Enjoy the last little bit of your weekend. Chill with your family, however you got to do it. So this is Point B signing off at the Nature Sports Podcast. See you guys next time.
YouTube/at the Nature DC. Subscribe today.